Hello and welcome again to a new episode of New Ways of Being. And today I want to talk about why I am an advocate for love, wholeness, and conscious evolution. Um, and I think what I want to share in this is that you might want to consider thinking about this in the same way to be a representation of love and wholeness and conscious evolution in yourself. So, why do I say this? Well, I think you might have some ideas if you've been listening to my episodes for any period of time, um, because what I learned when I got into a project last year about how we can change the world by raising our consciousness was that science um, has made recent discoveries about the nature of the universe. And fundamental to the universe is consciousness or pure awareness, unity or wholeness, and evolution. The universe is all those things, and it's always all of those things. And any aspect of the universe is a part of that. So we, as living sentient beings in the universe, uh, are fundamentally consciousness, unity, and evolution. Let me talk about those three things in maybe a little bit different way this time. So I'm an advocate for love, and you know most people would agree that love is a good thing. If you really dig in and explore, people would say, "I I would like to have more love." Yeah, I know there are people, if you ask them, that would say, "No, that's woo-woo stuff. I don't need more love." And they don't know themselves. I won't say they're lying. I'll say they don't know themselves because love is fundamental in the universe. And we are coming to understand that more and more. I've referred to a document. I ought to read this in entirety sometime, but I'm not going to do it today. This is a paper by Jude Curvin, Grant Story, and Dr. Calvin Chatlos. They wrote a paper called Activating Coherence Consciousness. And it digs into consciousness, um, love, and wholeness as expressions of the universe itself. So love is, I've heard uh, Julie Kroll, who leads the Imaginal Souls community that I'm a part of. She was a long time, she's a PhD in psychotherapy, and for a long time she was a psychotherapist and eventually became some people would describe her as a spiritual teacher or a teacher of consciousness. She's all of those things. And I've heard her say that love is the organizational intelligence of life itself, or I could say of the universe itself. Life is the material, physical expression of, just a moment here, checking on my dog. She's making noises. Love is the material expression of life itself. And love is unitive. It supports unity. It brings things together. Um, and you want, if you were God and you were creating a universe, you'd want it to uh, organize itself and stay together and evolve uh, purposefully and remain holistic and healthy. And um, otherwise, it just turns into a puddle of nothingness, or maybe some people would say, oh, it would be a big pile of rocks in the in the center of nowhere. I don't, I don't know about that, but love is the how the intelligence of the universe operates. It's unitive, it's creative, and love is creative, and when people talk about what they would love to do, or love to create, it's things that they love for some reason. They feel that they have the talents to express, either in terms of art or sports or you name it. Um, so love is all of those things, and it wants more love. It always moves towards its greater love, and that can be expressed in many different ways. So we could get into a very long discussion, I suppose, about how love expresses itself. But love is goodness, and love is a very important part of the world, and of course, and part of the universe. And of course, I'm talking not romantic love. I'm talking about something much bigger and deeper and more important than any romantic relationship or emotion. It is a state of consciousness, or even more, it's a state of being. We can express love in how we are physically in the world. And of course, we're not just physical in the world, we are mental and spiritual and emotional and all of those things together. So when we are being love, it's in all those aspects. So love is very important. And love is very important for the future of every person and for the world as a whole, how we would like it to evolve. I think everyone listening would automatically agree. We want to see more love expressed in the world and everyday life, not less, and not the opposite of love, certainly. Now, the opposite of love, some people emotionally would say the opposite is hate. And there's been many conversations about fear being the opposite of love. And I think that's true. Um, but it is positive. Love is positive and regenerative and creative and unity and works by creating and growing and expressing more of itself. So it's all of those good things. Wholeness is equally important in the universe. And if we were just talking about wholeness in a conversation, you might focus on health because wholeness has been used to express good health in body and mind, physical and mental. And a lot of people leave spiritual out of the picture, but of course we shouldn't. That's an important aspect of ourselves. The spiritual part is our consciousness, our awareness, our beingness, our livingness, living in physical form, or even if we were in pure spirit, we would be living and being, and would want to be whole. And whole has always been used to mean whole, WHOLE, or complete, whole or complete, um, healthy. And so all of those aspects are important. Um, Wholeness, I've talked about um, a long time ago, a book that had an influence on me when I was in my heavy spiritual exploration phase was The Ghost in the Machine was the title of the book. And it was written by a guy named Arthur Koestler, Koestler. And in the book, he, I believe, was the first person to use the word holon or holon, HOLON, meaning a entity or system that is one whole. And in exploring what that means, he discovered that, you know, that probably the best representation to think about wholeness or a holon is the cell, a cell of a plant or animal or a cell in our own body. Of course, we're made up of trillions of cells, all working together in a common cause to let us be physical beings alive in the world. And so all of the cells work together to support our life. So I don't know if you ever do it, but you should express love for every cell in your body and all cells in your body, they're all working together. And so he realized that the nature of a holon is one, each holon is self-assertive, and it is maintaining life as its own beingness. And simultaneously, it is integrative. It integrates with other holons, and they would usually be like holons, cells of an animal, for example. All so within your body, you have all of these cells, and they are all working together. They understand and know that they are working and they are serving a function within that body. So cells take on certain behaviors, at least, and perhaps certain characteristics to be brain cells or heart cells or cells, in bones or etc. They have special purposes, except stem cells are the basic cells before they've taken on a specific purpose. So wholeness is being fully integrated and coherent and healthy in all aspects, fully functional, doing what we're meant to do. And that And if we think about ourselves as being whole, then we must be self-assertive. We want our self to be whole, body, mind, and spirit, to be all healthy and integrated as one whole. And so we are this healthy being in the world, physical realm, and in the universe itself, and able to relate to other human beings or other beings of other types. We have pets, and they are animals, and they are beings, and they have souls, and um, and we can relate to them. And they're not the same type as us. They have a different characteristics in life, and as pets, they support us in life because we want to love them and feel their love in return. Um, and wholeness, and what we've really learned in recent times with the new scientific discoveries is that coherence is a key aspect of wholeness. Um, so I, as a human being, am this complex system of body, mind, and spirit. I have many different subsystems in my body, you know, respiratory and circulatory and neurological, etc. And they all need to work together in a way that is fully healthy and functional. And the word for that is coherent. So coherence is having the characteristic of supporting that wholeness. So we can almost say that wholeness and coherence are synonyms. They're used in different ways, so they're not exact synonyms, but they are uh, in a sense. And we've learned that love supports is moving towards greater coherence. So two people in relationship can become more coherent between themselves by having a more healthy, coherent relationship. And so that it applies to everything in the universe. Um, the universe, all of the parts of the universe are relational. Some things don't relate at all, but many things do relate. Like we relate to the the earth and all life on the earth. And we directly feel if, for example, human beings are damaging the environment of the earth and the climate and destroying life in different ways. And all of that can affect us negatively because it is unhealthy. And so without, basically irrationally or ignorantly, out of ignorance, human beings have not taken responsibility to protect our own healthy earth and environment, Mother Earth. So coherence is a key part of that, key part of wholeness. And then I say I'm an advocate of love and wholeness and conscious evolution. And so that's the evolutionary part of the universe. Evolution is how the universe unfolds over time, and not just physically, but in the living conscious integrity of the whole universe. It is evolving, and it has naturally structured itself to evolve towards greater coherence, greater life, greater functionality, greater consciousness, and even to, the universe is expressing that consciousness within the universe um, in individual beings. Animals express consciousness, and in fact, science now knows that consciousness is in everything, even in rocks, and so that's a limited sort of consciousness. And sentient beings like ourselves have a much more complex and higher level of consciousness. And we express that in how we live in the universe as it evolves. But the evolutionary part is important because nothing would happen without creation and evolution and life unfolding. So conscious evolution says that it is primarily consciousness that is evolving from our human perspective. Our physical bodies are not uh, evolving very greatly. I mean, we're not in a short period of time, we're not changing our physical form and becoming a totally different kind of physical being. Our physical aspects are staying much the same, but our consciousness is evolving. And certainly, you've heard me say that we look at the world, we we can now understand that consciousness is our human consciousness is the issue. It is determining the state of the world, and it's not real healthy right now. We can agree to that. We're divisive. We're based in the belief in separation, which we now know is not true. Deep down, we are fundamentally always maintaining a unity, and there is a unity of humanity, even that we should be serving and helping grow and become more alive and powerful and capable. And so at this point in time, we're operating out of consciousness of separation, and which is not true. It's not truth now. We know that. So we need to change and evolve towards greater consciousness, greater unity, and greater evolution. So that's why I am an advocate of love and wholeness and conscious evolution. Every one of us should become a conscious evolutionary. We should become an advocate of our own nature. And so I hope this gives you something new to think about. I'm going to keep it shorter today, so this is going to be all. But thank you for watching or listening, and you have a great day and great life.